When something unpleasant happens or when they feel tense, there are rare cases of people starting to sneeze. At a piano recital, achoo. When being scolded, achoo, achoo. Do you know anyone like that? Probably not many. Today, let's talk about Psychogenic Intractable Sneezing, or PIS. I'm Asaki Matsuzaki, a psychiatrist. To be honest, this is a topic that even psychiatrists don't know much about. That's exactly why I'd like to take this opportunity to learn about it here, as a psychiatrist. The sneezing in psychogenic intractable sneezing is called a pseudo-sneeze, a false sneeze, and it has characteristics that differ from those of an ordinary sneeze. First, it is more common during adolescence, and it tends to occur more often in females than in males. That said, I've heard cases involving boys, and I've also heard cases involving elderly women. It varies. When we sneeze, we usually take a long breath in, and then achoo. However, in psychogenic intractable sneezing, the inhalation phase is short, and there is little to no spraying of mucus. Sneezing tends to decrease at night, and during meals, or when attention is focused on something else, the sneezing tends to stop. And interestingly, when we sneeze, we tend to close our eyes. Achoo! But in cases of psychogenic intractable sneezing, it is said that people are often able to keep their eyes open even at the moment of sneezing. So how should this be treated? In general, sneezing is often treated with steroid nasal sprays, antihistamines, or decongestants. However, it is said that these medications are often ineffective for psychogenic intractable sneezing. As a possible reason, stress is often present in the background, and psychotherapy aimed at addressing stress is considered effective. The person is not sneezing on purpose or doing it intentionally. So, why does stress trigger sneezing in some people? The first keyword is the immune system. Stress can promote the release of histamine, which can lead to sneezing and a runny nose. However, if that were the case, antihistamines would be expected to work, at least a little. The more essential factor is probably the second keyword. The balance between the sympathetic nervous system involved in arousal and the parasympathetic nervous system involved in relaxation forms the autonomic nervous system, which is the second keyword. When stress makes the sympathetic nervous system dominant, runny nose and sneezing are usually suppressed. However, when there is strong or chronic stress, there are some people whose autonomic nervous system balance becomes disrupted. When the balance of the autonomic nervous system is disrupted, there are people in whom, as a response to stress, the parasympathetic nervous system instead becomes excessive. And in such people, it is thought that stress can trigger sneezing and a runny nose more easily. This is extremely interesting, but then how should it be treated? Counseling or simply reducing stress seems to be the only option. So, to that person who sneezed during a piano recital, when they were nervous, all I can really say is please do your best to perform without getting too nervous. There are also various case reports where psychiatric medications were tried, but they don't seem to be generally recommended. So, psychogenic intractable sneezing. If anyone here has had a similar experience, please share it in the comments. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. And please share this video with your friends. That's all.